God knows what day of the week it is. I have not a Scooby. But welcome back to Hounds United for our gift of the gab. It's just a general chit chat. We're going to be hitting you with as much information and news, or just like we have called the show, the gift of the gab. Alf, how are you on this crazy day, in this crazy week, in this crazy month of a crazy year, with everything that's going on in the world just now?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thanks, pal. And best wishes to everybody out there. Yeah, it is. It's bonkers, isn't it? Very surreal, and it changes every day. So we're just doing our best, just keep on going, just trying to have a sense of normality, and just keeping things going, I suppose, just like everybody else. You know?
Absolutely. It's really tough, though, to do that, isn't it? It's, I mean, that's the thing we're noticing when we're doing this show. We're going to try our best not to focus so much on that situation. It's tough not to, though. But isn't it really tough, though, to even just try and sit down here and plan shows and try and give the people, West Ham fans, content? Because there is, the funny thing is, there is a lot of content out there. Yeah, there is. Like, West Ham have got a history, and we could be doing left, right, and centre. But it's the motivation to be able to come through and actually go, do you know what? Are we adding value to what the fan base want?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle for everybody else out there. You know, you're at home, sort of twiddling your thumbs, or if you're able to go to work, then you can go to work and do what you need to do. But everybody's mind's elsewhere at the moment. That's the thing. And
absolutely.
And you know, you're right. You know, you're trying to come up with content just to keep. I suppose from my point of view, I'm looking at it. So if I was just a fan of a YouTube channel, no matter what it is, and I was, you know, at home, not knowing what to do, I'd want something to watch. I'd want something to keep my mind occupied. So from the other side of the fence is from us as a YouTube channel, trying to come up with stuff, as you say, that would be mildly entertaining or sort of, you know, at least watchable.
Yeah, 100%.
It's tough. It is tough right now because we're a football channel, essentially West Ham channel. But if there's no football going on, then what do we talk about? You know, and it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't really. I rarely go on Twitter, as in commenting or stuff like that. But today I went on it just to have a little mose around, and yeah, there's not a lot of stuff going on. I think there's a lot of people are sort of grabbing at straws, really, or just they're desperate to try to say something or do something. But as I say, it's hard. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one because you're trying to think normal. You're trying to think about football and discuss things, but you can't really because there's nothing to discuss. It's weird.
Yeah, of course. Listen, before we continue, I just want to address the silly account that's going around under our name, Irons United. I think they're still putting comments up. We're trying to block them as much as we can on YouTube, but they're going around saying some crazy rumours about every individual at Irons United that were contracting the virus, etc. I just want to let you know everyone is healthy and safe, and we are trying our best to block that person. I think they're going on to other channels and making comments, etc. But I hope that when you watch us and realize that you get to know who we are, the sort of people we are, that we definitely are not those sort of people to play. It's not even a game. So,
it's not even funny. I mean, that's just not even. It's just stupidity, really.
Absolutely.
Of the highest order.
Absolutely. But I mean, there's a few things we can talk about. We do actually have some things to discuss today. We've got some transfer rumours that are kicking about. The silly season of transfer rumours of kicking in again. And it's weird because it's not really during season ticket renewal time. Although if the current season was happening, it would be around the season ticket renewal time. So we have some transfer rumours and players that we'll discuss later on. But we are talking about I suppose the main title of the show, which is "Do you miss West Ham and do you miss football?" And Alf, I'll ask you straight that question, and then I'll ask everyone that's watching as well.
Yeah. Okay. In my usual manner, I would normally ramble off for about 10 minutes and give you a really convoluted answer, but I'm not. I'm going to keep this really short, and if you want to really know the answer, I'll tell you. But I'll keep it really short and I'll say, no, I don't. There you go.
Is that
right?
Video
finished. Let's go home.
Is that related? to the style of football that West Ham were producing and the problems that we're constantly seeing from behind the scenes and on the pitch? What's your reason for not missing it?
I think for every West Ham fan, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think for every West Ham fan, you can pretty much guarantee that it's been a tough few years to be a West Ham fan, hasn't it? You know, with all the stuff going on in the background. And let's not forget the performances and just haven't been good for 4 years, three and a half years, whatever. It's just been awful. I mean, I know West Ham, historically, we have lots of down seasons and then we have the odd up season. But for the last 4 years, it's just been really frustrating. And with everything going on in the background with the board and everything like that, it's just been very hard to find the joy in being a West Ham fan. So we're a channel, but we're primarily fans, just like every other channel, just like every other support. We're just fans, right? So you want your team to do well and you want your team to win and put on a great performance and score loads of goals. But when it doesn't happen week in, week out, and then you get into this whole merry-go-round of negativity and the whole labeling of a toxic atmosphere and everything, I'm actually glad of the break right now. I've got to say, I'm glad of the break. I'm not glad that I'm not able to watch football, but I'm just glad that I'm not having to deal with that week in, week out.
Yeah, of course.
And crikey, and I've got a grumble show. One of my shows is a grumble show. And that's what, I love to moan. But I'm glad I'm not right now.
Yeah, it is tough though. I mean, we weren't watching the nicest of football, like you said, Alf. It's been 3 years since we've actually seen a nice run or consistency within our side. Yeah. Things behind the scenes aren't looking great at all at the club. The constant negativity in and around the club. It's hard. It's really hard to stay motivated as a West Ham fan. Probably even more so when you do something like what we do as a channel, because we're trying our best to stay within as much of the updated news as we possibly can. And therefore we feel like we're throwing ourselves in and around things like Twitter, Facebook, as much as they annoy the living daylights out of me. Searching I was going to say the World Wide Web there, internet, for as much West Ham news as possible. And then you start to see all the fabricated stories left, right and centre. But of course you want to bring that as much of that news to West Ham fans as you possibly can. Sure. Then you add to the mix the constant kind of marches that go on and behind the scenes. You turning up to a game, you don't know if you're going to get to the game in time because there's going to be crowds. Then you're always thinking in the back of your mind, are we about to have another Burnley situation happening again? Yeah, and it's tough not to switch off from that, to be honest. Yeah. And to answer the question there, right now, I do miss West Ham, but I miss the West Ham of 3 seasons ago. Yeah, absolutely. Or 4 seasons ago when things were a little bit nicer, or I just miss a positive club. Yeah, to be honest. And I mean, I know this is what we're trying to do is, I know there's other stuff going on in the world right now, but we're going to give you as much West Ham chat as we possibly can.
Go on. Sorry,
no, go for it, Alf.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, look, you think about the match day experience, right? And I usually take my lad along, unless he's, double booked, a 14-year-old lad, double booked. I mean, how does that work? But there we go. So and one of the things, when I say, I kind of not fallen out of love with football, or fallen out of love with West Ham, that will never happen. But you go on a low ebb, if you know what I mean, of that enthusiasm to go. And I had this many years ago, and I kind of drifted out of football for a few years. One, because it coincided with me being elsewhere, but it was also about the bond scheme at the time. And I was just like, and I thought, our club doesn't, I suppose I was a bit naive at the time. I thought our club really values us as fans and everything. So I'm older and wiser now, so I know that's never going to be the case anyway. So that doesn't, bother me so much anymore. But one of the reasons why I really wanted to start coming back to football was actually not for myself. It was for my lad. I wanted to just like a lot of parents, you know, if you're really into your football, you'd like your son or your daughter to enjoy it with you. And that's why I love my match day experience, because I can share it with my lad and take him with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now for him, he didn't. He never saw the Upton Park, you see. So literally, it was the first season. I thought I'll start taking you to football, and so before then I was just going by myself, and he was a little bit younger. He wasn't really into football, but then all of a sudden, just like a light switch, he started liking football. So I said, "Well, yeah, son, I'll take you to West Ham." Anyway, so that coincided with our first season at the London Stadium, and it is about that match day experience. So we have, as a father and son, totally different match day experiences. For him, it's eyes wide open. The first season, this is, I'm saying, it was eyes wide open. Wow, look at this massive stadium. Look at all these people, all that kind of stuff. Then, you know, he's been hanging around with me too long.
I was just, honestly, it was on the tip of my tongue.
Now he's a little bit jaded as well. He's like, "Oh, Dad, that could be better." Oh, God, you know. So whilst he pulls me up a little bit, at the same time he can kind of see, or I've told him repeatedly, all the problems behind the scenes as well. Yeah. So when you go as a West Ham fan to a game, you want primarily to watch a good game and to have a good performance and to win and all that sort of stuff. But you also want everything else to be better. And whilst we're in, you know, a nice new stadium, as it were, it's not football. It's not. There's so many things wrong with it. And that's that big disconnect between the ownership and us as a fan base. It is what their idea of West Ham is and what our idea of West Ham is completely different.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you've always, it doesn't matter what we do on the pitch, there's always going to be that in the background. And you kind of think, you know, it got to a point a few weeks ago, just before, you know, they called the season or called all the games off. You're thinking, crikey, you know, if it wasn't for taking my lad and if it wasn't for meeting up with, you know, the lads, you know, the supporters club before the game, I probably wouldn't be bothered if I went or not. I'd still want to go, but not to every game. Do you know what I mean? So it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
It really is, and it's. I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. Like it does come down to the experience you're having, and the people you suppose you're surrounding yourself with, and you're taking your lad and you're making him trying to get him into it, which is really. I mean, for a young lad, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I remember growing up in school. Obviously, I lived in Scotland. Sorry, and everyone was always like that. What's your football team? And every time I said West Ham, they were like, "Why?" And anyway, I felt like I had to constantly educate people of the reason why. But the problem was when I was educating people to the reason why, there was no real reason why, apart from the fact that my dad was from the area and he just brought me up to be the West Ham fan that I am. So I could never sell to anyone that, oh, look, we've just won the FA Cup. Oh, look, we've just, you know, done this or done that. I was talking about players like Ian Bishop and Trevor Morley and and Alvin Martin and Tim Breaker and Steve Potts, and my mates in Scotland were like, what's going on here? So it's funny because there wasn't a huge amount of success back then as a West Ham fan, but it literally just creeped into my veins and my blood, and I had literally no choice. And I think that, I mean, I've met your lad a few times as well, Alf, and it's obviously got in there. Even though he doesn't see a huge amount of success, there's probably not a huge amount of difference really in comparison to yourself growing up as a West Ham fan, apart from the odd occasion that you've seen something, but not that I'm trying to give away your age or anything.
But the thing is, I suppose of fans of a certain age, we were spoilt a little bit. I'm a 70s kid, so as I've sort of told this story before, you know, when my dad we'd watch FA Cup finals on the TV, and in those days that's pretty much the only live football that you could watch, and there's, like, you know, the highlight shows, match of the day, and this one we had in the Midlands called Star Soccer, right? Anyway, so you'd watch that, and then the one of the ones I could really remember, or just about remember, was the 75 Cup final. And I remember my dad at the time, and I can't remember if it was before, after, or during. He's basically saying, if you want to see a good team play, watch this team here. Watch West Ham. Watch this team. And that kind of stuck with me. But then you kind of go up, and everybody else is supporting Man United and Liverpool and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And then you come up to about 8, 9, and 10, and you think, why are West Ham always on TV? What's going on here? Why? This was going through my mind, because they weren't in the first division at the time, and it's just what's going on here? And then you start to hear little things about Ron Greenwood and Trevor Brooking and all this kind of stuff as a kid, and you think, oh, okay. And then they got to the 1980 FA Cup final, and I remember that run. And then I was a lot old, well, not a lot older. I was still sort of 9, 10. I was then, and then you think, wow. And then we win the FA Cup, and it's just like. But that whole time, I was thinking, I'm a bit of a closet West Ham fan.
Yeah,
I didn't know why I liked them, but I just did, and it was weird. So. For me, it kind of grew organically. It grew into something that it was just in my consciousness all the time. I didn't have a father figure who was saying to me, I'm a West Ham fan, so you're going to be a West Ham fan. Whereas with my lad, I've kind of said, go on, if you want to support a proper team, come and support us.
Yeah. It's funny though. I was talking to my dad about it as well, because I'm one of 6 siblings, and I'm the youngest, and I'm the one that really took the passion on dramatically, like probably to the same level as my dad.
Yeah.
And enough to travel from Scotland to as many games as I possibly can through as many years of that I can remember from a kid. And my mind's gone totally blank there. No, sorry. The point I was trying to make was, my dad never ever really forced me either. Like, it was funny. He never actually said you have to do it. And I discussed with him recently. I said, Dad, why do you think I took to West Ham? And he literally, he couldn't really give me an answer at all. I was born in 1983, so I missed all the kind of successful years. But he managed to find a picture of me as literally, I look like I'm 3. I look 2 or 3 years old, and I'm wearing I think it's like the Avco, the really old school, like that, but with the sponsor on it. Yeah, and it was obviously it was an adult top as well. And all I can think of is like subliminal messages. My dad didn't force me. I'm probably doing it with my son right now. I'm not forcing my son to support West Ham, but I'm buying him all the merchandise. I'm getting him involved with claret and blue, like his favourite colour. You've got to start with purple, and eventually when he's older, he turns that into claret. I remember being a kid and I was always like, it's purple, my favourite colour, because every time I said claret, no one understood. And then the older I got, I was like, no, my favourite colour is claret. All that sort of stuff. He sees claret and blue everywhere he walks. It's subliminal messages. My wife's not happy. She's like, oh my God, what are you doing to him? And I was like, son, welcome to this roller coaster, because this is going to be the best roller coaster of your life. And it literally is. I'm
sure every other parent out there can kind of, it doesn't matter which team you support, but if you're trying to get your son or your daughter into the same team, it's kind of think, right, you either push really hard or you just be really sensible about it, or not sensible, you tactical about it. And that's what I was with my lad. I was very tactical. I was just, because by rights, because I live in Reading, by rights, I say to him, you should be a Reading fan. You were born in Reading. We live in Reading. They've got a football team. You should support. So occasionally I'll go to a Reading match to see, especially if there's a player that I hear that we're might be interested in from some of the other teams, and they're playing Reading, and go and pop along just to do my scouting for the club, as it were. But so I say to him, and then all of his friends were all Man United or Liverpool or Chelsea and all that sort of stuff. And I said, well, look, I'll take you to West Ham. Come and have a day out with me and see what you think. And then you buy them the football kit and all that sort of stuff, and you think,
it takes over.
You load it on. You just load it on tactically until it bites, and then you think, well, I've got you now.
100%.
What I said to him, I actually said, I can't even believe I said this, but I actually said to him, I said, right, son, I'll take you to the football, and I'll buy you a kit and all that sort of stuff. But here's the thing: you can support anybody you like, but once you commit to a team, that's it.
Yeah, you
That's
never,
it
ever change. Yeah.
You cannot change. And he was kind of looking at me, going, "Yeah, Dad, yeah, I understand." I said, "But you can support anybody you like. I won't hold it against you." But so there's one thing you will not do. You will not support another London team. That's it. That's it. I don't care who you support, but not a London team.
But not another one.
Not on my watch. And that was it. And it was like, yeah, all right, Dad, all right.
So, Dad. Listen, there has been quite a lot of stuff that's come out today, but something I want to bring up that I found really interesting was, I'm putting it up in front of you. Ever since the Premier League has actually started,
ooh, I like this graphic.
They brought out the stats, and the stats are the all-time Premier League table, 27 seasons, and West Ham currently sit 10th. Is that good, Alf? All-time Premier League. We've played 875 games. We've won 287 times. Drew 227, lost 361. With over 1,000 points in the Premier League. I mean, I've seen that today, though. I mean, the one thing I do notice of it is that obviously you've got Manchester, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Everton, City, Newcastle, Villa, West Ham, and then the rest of the sides below it seem to be, apart from maybe Leicester more recently, are kind of yo-yo-ish clubs within the league. So we're quite strongly consistent actually in the Premier League, which is a nice thing to see, and that's probably why we've got a reasonably good, or not reasonably good, a very good fan base, because a lot of people actually are aware of who we are.
Yeah, there's no doubt being in the Premier League raises your profile globally, and it attracts young, the next generation fan. Being in the Premier League, will always do that, and also attracts big players. Once you've got big players, it attracts. If we were a Championship side, we never would have attracted an Arnautovic, an Anderson, whatever. And name your player, it just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
but I would say, looking at that, it's pretty much, you say, 875 games. It's pretty much as we figure. We've lost and drawn a lot more than we've won, and we've conceded more than we've scored. So it's
pretty much the same old.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we think it is, really, isn't it? It's just like, well, we're in the Premier League, but you can't. We've been hanging on by our fingernails for a long, long time. So, if this season does conclude, if it does, and this is going to be the next subject, of course, will we even be here? Or even if we survive this season, what will happen next season? Because I've been, again, getting back to father and son kind of thing. One of the things I said to my lad, when we first started getting him into football, and him supporting West Ham, was saying, look, just prepare yourself for a lifetime of frustration, disappointment, and sadness being a West Ham fan. But what I've also been saying the last season, I said, look, you got to start preparing yourself now. We could be a Championship team next season, and we'll still go and watch them. I'll still go and watch them. That doesn't bother me. But you, as a young kid, with all the distractions that kids have got now, it's very easy for anybody to not want to go and watch the team anymore, or not want to, not even bother anymore, because they're just not in the Premier League. We've been flirting with that for quite a few seasons now, and
100%. And I suppose that, like you said, that brings us on nicely to what is going to happen. Apparently there's going to be a really big Premier League meeting this Friday to discuss what is actually going to happen with the Premier League. Now, there's loads of different options out there. I mentioned to you before we came on, I seen that Mark Warburton, the manager of QPR, had said that no matter what happens, this season needs to be finished. Now, I had heard a lot of people say that, but I never looked into it as much as what they were meaning. And it looks like what their meaning is, if it means it detriments next season, this season must get finished, because we need to know where the standings are. We're 80% through the season. Therefore, we need to see what the outcomes are. We can then sort out championships, relegations, promotions, and if it means we need to condense next season into a smaller league, like one game rather than two games home and away, then so be it. But we can't affect this season. And when he said it like that, it made a lot more sense to me, to be honest, because that gives it more time. I mean, there's other chat around about us going behind closed doors in July, but let's be brutally honest here, Alf. And I mean, I've seen some comments coming in, and I think the only thing I've seen really around the world, apart from the Belarus football, is the WWE wrestling is going ahead, but with no fans there, and it's only like 2 or 3 people wrestling at a time. But let's be realistic. When we're listening to what the government are saying, do we really think that football, even behind closed doors, will start when you've got 22 people in the park, you've got 4 officials, coaching team, and by that point, people will still be contracting a virus. That doesn't really give the Premier League an option, really, in my opinion. What's your thoughts on what I've said? And also, when you're watching, get your comments in, please.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because if you'd have asked me a week, 2 weeks ago, I would have said, no, absolutely, we've got to find a way to finish the season, all that kind of stuff. But we're in a crazy world where every day changes and our opinions change of what we might have said yesterday may not apply today. The interesting thing about this is that you're right. We don't know when this is going to be resolved, and we don't know about the infection, and if it's going to affect players and so on and so forth. So the only way you could do it is to say, whether this is true or not, if each player had contracted it and got it and gone through it, and then they were immune, then you could say that player is cleared to play, that player is cleared to play, until all the players were cleared to play, or the whole country is free of infection. But until that point, I'm not sure how it could be done.
Yep.
There'll be some kind of legal point. But here's the other thing about playing behind closed doors. I think they could be played behind closed doors. I still do. But it's a way of managing everybody and protecting. And as soon you could have 3 games, let's say 4 games, when everything's fine, then all of a sudden you get one infection again, and that's it. It puts the whole, everything, it gets stopped again. So I'm not sure how that could be done either. Whether it's it's certainly not in front of fans. I think we're way beyond in front of fans. I think it's got to be all played behind closed doors. But this comes on to the third point, which you kind of mentioned, right? They've got to finish the season no matter what, and consider next season, change next season or whatever. As I said to you before, I think they can start this season again in July, August, or September, depending on when we're kind of clear. Condense all the games, play 2 a week, 3 a week, whatever. In 3 weeks, you'd finish the games. They've had all this time off. They could build up their fitness to that point. Then you have 3 or 4 weeks, a month of getting all those games sorted. You have a week off, then you start the next season proper. And then you condense all the games again. So I think you could finish this season and do a complete next season, and maybe just extend it into May, June, to give yourself a little bit of space.
Yeah.
The big problem with that is not about starting or continuing the season from August, September. The big problem is player contracts. And that's the big thing. Because you can have lots of players who are out of contract, and this is not just Premier League, this is right throughout the leagues, and they're saying, well, I was supposed to be leaving, I was supposed to be going on to another team, I was supposed to be doing this, So either the whole UEFA, FIFA, they say, right, for this season, we are going to scrap transfer deadlines. Yep. So any player can come and go as they wish until the brand new season starts. So that will give them the whole latitude to just keep on playing whatever, just to see these 9 games out. Thereafter, you can just transfer to any team and start again. But that's the only way. The point I'm trying to make is it's not as simple as just extending the season and starting again. You're going to have legal changes, rule changes. Otherwise, every team's going to be saying, hold on a minute, my lawyers are going to have something to say about this. No, we can't do that. Yeah.
It's valid, though. There's a couple of comments coming in. We'll go through the comments at the end, but people are right. Currently West Ham players, according to Karen Brady, eight West Ham players have actually currently in self-isolation with symptoms. The thing is, though, we don't even know that they're going to be tested. And if they're not tested, we're not even going to know that if they're going to have the virus. The problem here you've got is if squads are taking hits like this, if players are taking hits, obviously we wish the safety on anyone out there, out with football, whatever. But obviously this is a football channel, so we're talking about the football. But this is how I literally do not know what the outcome can be. The only other outcome I can see it being is that the season will be delayed to the point. If you, like you said, so many legal problems are going to take place. Like if they go into this meeting on Friday and they say, yes, this league will need to finish and we'll finish it and we'll delay the next season. When is the season going to start? What are going to be the terms to allow the players to come back? You've not played for 4 months. You've not had a pre-season. You're not allowed to play together. You're not allowed to train together. Or you are allowed to train together. What makes it okay for them to train together when they're banning? That's the other thing. They're saying they're what is it? More than 2 or 5 people.
No more than 2 people. No more than 2 people right now.
Yeah, and of course that would have to be relaxed. And fingers crossed that is relaxed, and fingers crossed we can get the season back up and running.
Yeah.
But it's just about the time. And people are saying here now, 60,000 people in a stadium. That's a no-brainer. We're definitely not going to see fans in a stadium for a long time.
No.
To come. But
because not only have you got to go beyond the point where they're saying it's safe for people just to go about their daily business, it's got to go beyond, that massive buffer zone that everybody be protected. And that the only time that will happen, I can imagine, is when you get to 0 incidents. When you've got 0 people being infected with this, then it will probably say, okay, we can start games.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't start games again in the meantime.
Yeah.
I had a thought. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, they always say, Alf, when they stop something, it's harder to get it started again. And that was always going to be the problem. Now that we've stopped the season, I don't even know how long we've been stopped for. It does feel like a distant memory, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like if they came back now, it would kind of feel like a new season. And I would be expecting new players to be playing, etc.
The only way I know this sounds really daft, right? But the only way I can see there be some kind of you can get a result from this is to not play the games, but have competitions between each team with another team that ensures that there's no contact between the players, even if they're all clear. And I know this sounds daft, but you have a tournament where everybody's separate in a stadium or a series of stadiums, and you have mass penalty shootouts, something like that, where the players are not next to each other. They're all 2 or 3 meters apart. You don't have them in their changing rooms. You have all them changing on, the pitch or something like that. Whatever daft thing that you can come up with to try and minimize physical contact. And you just say to the teams, right, okay, these going to be, you're going to have a whole series of penalty shootouts. That's the only way we're going to play these games and get a result. Once you do that, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's a daft thing, because if you want to do that and you want to maintain the integrity of this season, and you're still going to get results. And that's what the main thing is: results and points. The results and points, a win or a loss. You see, forget about draws. We're talking about win or a loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then if you get that, then you can start next season afresh, and that will happen a lot sooner.
Absolutely. Listen, see, before we continue on with the show, just want to let you know tomorrow night we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit of fun if we can somehow. We're going down the pub. We're not literally going down the pub. We're virtually going down the pub. So what we're doing is calling upon you, all your West Ham friends, all your West Ham pals, anyone you know who's a West Ham fan, grab yourself a beverage, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and come and join us, have a chit-chat. We're going to try and get as many people on as we can to just, you know what, to chat shit if we have to, just to get anything out there that's West Ham at the moment. So like you would be going down the pub with your mates, having a general chit-chat. What are you going to say, Alf? Are you going to add to it?
No. I'm just looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I can see you getting excited. So we're gonna. I mean, we're gonna have some other people coming on. People that have been on before. Hopefully, people who haven't been on before. I've got my rum and coke ready. I'm gonna be firing in about it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see where the show goes. It could be a total disaster, but we're gonna try and bring a bit of light-hearted entertainment to you guys who stick in with Irons United. But please, tomorrow night, get sharing the channel. If you have social platforms, it would be really good if you could actually share our channel and let them know that we're here. And yeah, tomorrow night should be a lot more fun. But shall we move on from the current situation and just start talking about some of the rumours that are kicking about, Alf?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go.
Get your comments in though and let us know what your thoughts are and how you think the season should be finished, etc. But before we move on, we just want to wish happy 33rd birthday to Dimitri Payet. I had to bring it up, but my word, I tell you what.
Why did you do that to me, man? Why? I was feeling quite happy.
Well, then hopefully this will make you happy. Happy 30th birthday to Mikel Antonio, the legend. Hope he's like that picture. That was the famous one against Spurs. What a day and what a victory that was. Yeah. But yeah, what I'm going to try and do is share the screen with you guys just now, because we are actually going to be talking about, let me have a look here, a player that West Ham are currently linked to, and the player is Mario Götze from Borussia Dortmund, the German player. Is this silly season starting again, Alf? Is this the, during the season ticket renewal time, we're always linked to a top-notch quality player?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, this is, okay, we are talking rumour mill here, and we are talking about, a quality player, no doubt. But I'm not sure whether he would be suitable, not just for West Ham. I'm not suitable for the Premier League. I don't think he's got the stature for the Premier League, to be quite honest with you.
Well, so can I correct me if I'm wrong here, Alf? Is the screen moving up and down when I move it here?
Yeah.
Right, cool, excellent. So what we know about Götze is he is 27 years old, so he's within the age range of West Ham players. We're looking at. He's an attacking midfielder playing the number 10 role, another number 10, currently playing his trade at Borussia Dortmund. Started his career.
How tall is he?
5'9".
Yeah.
Right. So
he'll be a dwarf. He'll be a dwarf compared to a lot of the other players.
Currently, though, was at Borussia Dortmund before, scoring 22 goals in 83 appearances. Again, this is Wikipedia, so things can slightly be different here. And then Bayern Munich, 22 goals and 73 appearances. And then back to Borussia Dortmund, 2016, 71 appearances, 13 goals. Most notably, though, probably his career in the national side for Germany, where he scored very, very vital and important goals for them. But the rumour is...
Do you think we're looking at a player like that because other players that we've got in that role are on the way out?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, Alf. I'm thinking about, I actually really like him. I really like this guy. I actually do think he would be suited to the Premier League. If we look at the player, the young lad, Billy Gilmore for Chelsea, he's actually from literally not even 10 minutes, about 8 minutes up the road from where I live in Scotland. He's tiny. He is absolutely tiny, but he's more than capable because he's got vision. He's got a fantastic pass, and in actual fact, he knows what his weaknesses is. So therefore, he doesn't allow any other player or any other opposition to get within touching distance of him before he's released that ball and made a positive pass forward. Now I know Götze's a different player, but I actually think he is a class player. I think he's got goals in him. His career has become a little bit stagnant in Germany. and he's played his whole career in Germany. So I think a move probably to the Premier League would be great for him. The problem you've got with a player like this, though, is that, and I find it even with big players, that they always choose the bigger clubs, but it never really works out for them. Where he's really got an opportunity now to come. I mean, if we have a look and see what he's won in his career,
he's won the World Cup, isn't he?
Yeah, he's won the World Cup. I'm just trying to get his.
He's won a few titles with Bayern.
He's won the Bundesliga twice. He's won the cup, 3 cup competitions. Actually, that's a lie. He's won the Bundesliga 5 times.
Yeah.
He's won the FIFA. For 3 for Bayern Munich, 2 for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
He's won the cup competitions like 4 times. He's won the UEFA Super Cup. He's won the Club World Cup. He's won the World Cup for Germany under 17s.
European Cup or Cup Champions League, has he won that?
No, it doesn't look like he's got that on his belt.
Oh, okay, right.
But the thing is am I dreaming here, or is it the sort of player that we could potentially attract? And is this silly season playing it?
Possibly. Possibly. I tell you what, the interesting thing is, my preference of a player has always been a Northern European player. So because I think those sort of players suit the Premier League more than an Italian, Spanish, Portuguese type player, or a player from anywhere else in the world. It's just I think it, the physicality and the temperature, the environment. I think it's you'll get a player settle in better from a Northern European country, whether they're from Holland or from Belgium or from Germany or any of the Scandinavian countries, let's say. So, I would say on that, he is my kind of player. I'm just not sure whether he would be better than any of the current players that we have in those positions. That's all, unless they're on their way out. They're already earmarked to go, of course.
Yeah. Would you like? I mean, in a nutshell, would you like to see him come to West Ham?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would, though, Alf. I really do.
Yeah.
I think is it realistic, or has times changed so much in the space of 3 weeks that by the time we come back to the football season, there's another potential show out of this is, teams around the world are starting to ask the players to take pay cuts. Is this an opportunity for football to reset itself and get the salary cap in place? Because it's definitely needed, in my opinion.
I think if we take a society as a whole, I hope that global society takes a long, hard look at itself. And then if we look at football as a tiny part of that, I really do hope that football, not only the players' salaries, but the way agents operate, the way teams are managed, not just in the Premier League, but all the all the way through the leagues. I just hope they have a real long, hard look at themselves and talk about this and change their ways a little bit. Because paying players grotesque amounts of money, whilst it might be in line with market forces, it's just too much.
Yeah,
you're paying average type players an obscene amount of money for usually being a failure, and it's just not right, really. But more so about the way teams are managed, they're handled behind the scenes, and how much clubs spend just to keep in a league or try and get promoted. It's. We can't ignore the fact that how many teams may just go to the wall, may go bankrupt during this phase. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen. So when all the dust settles and we can get back to being normal, because I think we definitely will get back to normal. But I just hope there's a sense of, okay, we need to stop all this spending money when we just don't need to spend it on players that are just coming here for a paycheck,
Yeah. Of course. Another player we're linked with is Martin Braithwaite, who's currently plying his trade for Barcelona. Let me see if I can get you a share screen back up here. We'll discuss what he looks like. in his previous career. You know, again, like I said, this could be silly season. But let me get rid of that image and bring this up for you. So we're talking about the 28-year-old Martin Braithwaite, Danish international player, currently playing for Barcelona, was signed controversially after the transfer window from Leganes to Barcelona. He's only had 3 appearances for Barcelona so far this season. He has got 39 international caps for Denmark, scoring 7 goals. He's not scored for Barcelona yet. Scored 6 in 24 for Leganes. 4 in 19 for the season for them before. He's got goals in him. But this is more realistic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
Based upon the fact that it looked like it was more of a panic buy. Well, it was a panic buy, to be honest, from Barcelona. What's your thoughts on that, Link?
Yeah, I would say I agree. I would say that's more of a buy, and I'd probably go as far as to say that's more our kind of player.
Yeah,
that kind of player would a player that's got something to prove, a player that is not a household name, a player that hasn't had success elsewhere, but who might be itching for a new start somewhere. So I think. Yeah, potentially. Whereas Goetze, or however you pronounce his name, I think he might be coming here for a paycheck. Out of the Bundesliga and coming to the Premier League. Whatever. Yeah, that's if West Ham stay up, of course.
It'll be
I'm sure they will, but
definitely definitely interesting to see what the outcome of those 2 transfers. I'm sure we'll see plenty more transfers. I mean, the thing is, we've got so much more to deal with. We've got players that are out on loan that, depends on what other leagues do. You've got that as well. If Premier League decide that they want to continue, that doesn't mean that other leagues will decide that they want to continue. What does that mean for example, Winston Reid, who's out on loan in America, whose season's just started? Does that mean his term will get extended? It'll be a really, really interesting couple of months. The main thing is everyone's safe when we come out of this the other side. Football's the last thing on our minds when it comes to all this, but it definitely would help if we can get some form of normality back in everyone's life, which would be amazing.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Excuse me, about football's on the last thing on people's minds. Actually, right now, I think this is the perfect opportunity for clubs, players, but also the ruling bodies, the FA, UEFA, FIFA, to get their house in order. How many times are we talking about VAR and all the problems? Hold on, right now in this downtime, they should be, finding a way and say, okay, hold on, we had all these problems with VAR. All these the public, the fans just don't like it for whatever reason. Whenever the season starts, we're ready to go with a completely revamped rule book, a revamped VAR system. We've looked at the offside rule. We've looked at the handball rule. We've changed that. Wouldn't it be a breath of fresh air? All of a sudden, we come back as fans and say, right, oh, look, they've thought about that. They've done that. They've done that. They've done that. Whilst nobody's been playing, we come back and we've got all these rule changes.
Yeah,
I would say, wow, that is using your time wisely. I've just got a feeling that nobody's doing anything. Everybody's paralyzed by this, obviously, the disease, but nobody's doing anything in the meantime. So when you get back to the season starting again, nothing changes. Now maybe you can't make rule changes halfway through a season, but certainly once the season is finished, then you can say, right, okay, this is a brand new step now.
Yeah, absolutely. What have we got? Anything else we want to cover?
Well, players that are going out, mate. But no, I hear quite a few. Anderson is on his way out back to Italy.
I'll be honest with you, Alf. I'd be absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted. I think that would be another player that's just gone. We've not played him to his strengths, and it'd be an absolute waste. Waste of his time and our time if we sell him. Because I think we've got the best yet best of him to come yet. I'm not the biggest fan of David Moyes, but I can see how David Moyes might be able to bring the best out in him. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. We cannot afford to get rid of him. And to be honest, I know there's rumours kicking about that maybe he wants to go back to Italy, but what's the Italian league going to look like? And once all this stuff's done as well. So
well, I think if we can keep him, I think if we can find the right
place for him,
the right formula for him to play, and the other players around him, I think Lanzini. What about him? He's apparently on his way.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I think West Ham's fan base are very, very quick to jump the gun when a player's not performing that well and think, let's just get rid of that guy. He's not performing great, and Fornals is going to step into his position. But I think on his day, he is unplayable sometimes. And he's had a bad injury, and I don't think he's been played. I don't think he's been played consistently when he's playing well. I don't think he's been dropped consistently when he's not been playing well. I just think he's been completely mismanaged. And I think if a manager was to come in and actually manage Lanzini properly, we probably would see the best. I think we shouldn't jump the gun too quickly on Lanzini, to be honest. I think he's someone we should definitely keep.
Well, I do as well. I mean, I've always been a Lanzini fan. I just desperate or hopeful that he can regain his position, but also regain his form. I just heard that was definitely an issue, an ongoing issue, and that he would be looking to leave. I know it's all changed now. I know,
of course, but I wouldn't be surprised though. I wouldn't be surprised if the club were looking at shifting some of these players because they'll get some decent money for them. To be honest, but I think that's the wrong mistake, and that's typical West Ham.
What's the? Have you also heard of Moyes after a new keeper?
I think it's a no-brainer that he's got to be looking further than Fabianski. I don't think Randolph will be his number one choice. I don't think West Ham manager come in will see Randolph as the number one choice. So I think they need to start looking for a younger player. What is Fabianski? 35.
So I heard that he wants Karius, the ex-Liverpool player, ex-Liverpool keeper, the one that had the concussion in the Champions League final. So that was a rumor. I actually haven't dug any deeper than if it was just a rumor or somebody put out some fake news about it. I don't know, but that's what I heard about Karius.
I wouldn't take that one, to be honest. I can't see him being number one. I think he's just like a third choice. And in actual fact, I think what we've got there in the ranks is enough. If it was coming to a player like that, it needs to be someone that can challenge Fabianski straight away, immediately. In actual fact, I would have no problems, Alf, if we signed a goalkeeper that would take Fabianski's position straight away, because then it means that we're getting a better goalkeeper, and Fabianski's already great. So,
Well, I think Fabianski is probably one of our best keepers ever, and that's a big statement. Yeah. But he is in my top 2 or 3 of keepers we've ever had, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Great player.
I mean, I think he's that good. He's just been playing in a very poor side, but I think he's brilliant. I mean, look, I agree. Look, we've got a few more seasons with Fabianski, definitely. If he can, and he stays fit, and he wants to stay with us. But I think, he definitely needs a good number 2, or he needs somebody to challenge him. Put him out there.
Alf, there's comments in here. Should we jump on to some of the comments?
Yeah, sure. So, I was going to go through my all-time West Ham matchday squad, but maybe I'll leave that for another show. Maybe
that could be good.
I'll talk about that on tomorrow night over a drink. And
yes,
you could all laugh at me.
And while Alf is saying that, tomorrow night we are going to the pub. We are going to the pub. Virtually going to the pub.
In this hand, it'll be a beer. That hand will be wine. And I'm going to mix it in one glass and just drink.
And as you can see there, join us tomorrow as we go down the pub, because we are going down the pub virtually. We're going to have a couple of drinks with us. We're going to have some chit chat, get some guests on, etc. Alf, I think that's actually a good idea for another show.
If you're watching this tomorrow night and you've got your own pub in your garden, you've got to send us photos or ask to come on and join us for the video chat, and you can actually do it from your pub in the garden. I
Yeah,
know that's quite.
actually, do you know what? Alf makes a valid point. If you are interested in coming on tomorrow night, we will send you a link, and all you do is click that link, and you just type your name in, and then bang, you're sitting in the background, and we can bring you in if and when you're ready. So if you are watching and want to get involved, why not? Just come and say hello, even if it's for a minute. It's a West Ham channel. That's what it's all about.
Even if even if you look at the camera and go like this.
Yeah, it's enough. Because you know what?
Hello.
You get that when you go to the pub.
That's fine.
You get that when you go to the pub. So Lorimer Gardens, I'm not a West Ham fan, but I feel everyone's pain in the current circumstances. Absolutely, mate. I think everyone's exactly the same. There's loads of comments here. I'm going to skip by some of them. Mick, forever, hope you're well. There is some sport, if you can call it sport, WWE with no audience. True, mate, it is. It's no audience right now. I'm actually quite surprised because they're extremely physical and but then the only thing I can say is there's only maybe 2 and maybe max 6 people in a ring at a time. But we'll see how hopefully they can continue that. But I'm not sure they will. There's some sad idiots about Mick. Yeah, there is, mate. Kent Hammers, will the season finish, guys, at some point? I honestly don't think it will. We've discussed it. For me personally, I think the only real option is that it has to have an impact on next season. It's probably the only fairest way, in my opinion, that can be done. That even if the season doesn't start till September or October, that this last games get played and then we reduce the next season. I don't know how that looks, but
you've got to. I mean, you've got the Karen Brady school of thought to say avoid everything, but again, that just
she's gone back in that though, hasn't she, Alf? She's gone back. In
yeah, exactly. I mean, initially, she was saying that, and then whichever way you go, apart from actually seeing the season out, throws up all these kind of legal arguments. So I think there's only one option. There is only one option. They've got to find a way to whenever it restarts, just get the games done.
Yeah.
And then, carry on with our lives, basically.
Yep. Mick saying, is this Friday the FA announce what's happening to the season? Yeah, I think they do, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see another delay, to be honest, Mick. I really don't see how it's not. It's the word we've all heard, unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. So, there's rules and regulations, but things can be broken and things can change and be rewritten, as Alf said.
When was when was the season suspended to? What's the current date? Is it April
the 5th or 3rd and 4th?
Yeah. So they're probably going to say, right, we'll go to the end of April.
I think they already have, though. They've said that is going to be. Was it July or something? I don't know if they've been hinting at July.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So they're probably. I think it's it would be sensible of the FA and on all the footballing bodies to say not make a rash decision right now. Just they've got time. They've got time to see how this plays out, and they could say, okay, every month we're going to review it. We'll just go to the end of April. We'll just go to the end of May. We'll go to the end of June, so on and so forth. They can just keep on reviewing it and see how the situation develops with not only this country, but all countries as well.
Yeah, of course. Mick saying, I miss West Ham and football and TV in general and other sports. I completely agree with you. It's really tough. Neil, hope you're well, mate. In Australia, 5:58, so it'll be 6:15 in the morning. 7:15, is it, in the morning? I don't know what time we're at just now, to be honest, on a Monday morning. So hope you're well, Neil. Hope you're keeping safe. Let's have a look here.
If you weren't watching, if let's say all sport was back on, but football wasn't, right? What sport would you be watching right now? If every other sport was, maybe that's a question for tomorrow night.
I was just going to say, I think that's a good one because it could end up going into a crazy
conversation. So many questions for tomorrow night, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to have a game of online darts as well.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. Yeah, no, I like that. That's a good question, though. So keep that one for tomorrow when you're tuning in.
You'll have to remind me when I'm drunk and just. I will try not to get drunk, honestly. I will try.
Mick saying, would you rather season ended or watch live West Ham and football matches behind closed doors? I think I would rather watch West Ham play football games and the season finish that way, even if it means it's behind closed doors, for me personally.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't care about... I just want to see the game played.
Yeah. Mick saying West Ham fans are not for the glory but for the passion. You can say that again, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Neil's referencing the Belarus League that's still going ahead, so they'll probably get some decent
But the thing is, you know, every country has probably got something in place right now, depending on what they're experiencing. But then next week it could be something completely different. Like the United States, for example, they've got things still going on.
Yeah.
But then this week or this coming week, they might cancel everything. You know,
yeah, of course.
It depends what's happening in different states as well, doesn't it? So.
Stuart saying, can you imagine 60,000 people packed together in a couple of months?
Well,
no, absolutely not. No.
No.
Loads of comments here. I'm just trying to get. What's this in it? Jay Yaz. Can you get Nigel on for some inside info? Yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll try and get him. Maybe I'll text him actually, see if he wants to come on tomorrow for a few beveraginis with us. Mick saying Gotze scored the winner of the World Cup final against Argentina. He absolutely did.
Yes.
The lower leagues, Stuart's saying, have their season cancelled. I think it would cause big rows if the Premier League got cancelled. Still, Football League, what makes it so different? It's just about the money. Yeah, completely couldn't agree with you anymore, to be honest. Right, I'm skipping down to the bottom here. What's this one saying? With Alf drinking, he will say, if this happens, he'll eat his hat. Laugh out loud. Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely. People here are saying they're watching the MotoGP 2, amusing but not sport.
Oh yeah. I heard about it. Yeah.
So that really calls it quits, Alf. I think we've done a good job giving people. Oh, it looks. Have we ended?
No, we're still going.
Are we still going? Yeah.
Yeah, we're still going.
Weird. It's coming up on my screen saying 3 minutes, but that's really odd. Anyway,
you got 3 minutes to
to
say
stop.
what you got to say. Then get out.
Listen,
Europe.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We know it's tough to. Hopefully, we've given you some little bit of information on some of the players that we're linked to, etc. But the key main thing is join us tomorrow night. Keep an eye on the channel to let you know what time. I think we're going to try and aim for 8 o'clock, Alf, 8:30 maybe, 8:30 realistically.
Yes.
Get yourself a drink, whether it's a tea, coffee, a water, a juice, or it is a wine, a beer, an aftershock, rum and coke.
What'd you say? Aftershock.
An aftershock. Oh. Listen, we've got a couple of young ones coming on tomorrow, so we have to get some shots in.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, maybe not too young. They're having some jelly shots or something like that, or whatever. You know.
Right, Alf.
Everybody's welcome, by the way. Everybody's welcome to come and join us for this drink. Absolutely. And seriously, if you want to come on the video and just come and say hello and then just go off again, get in touch with us. We'll put the link in, or we'll send you the link and whatever. Yeah, come on, let's have a bit of fun with this. We could all have a little sing-song as well. I bet my neighbour's going to love me tomorrow.
and the kids are going to love me because they can hear me from underneath the stairs. Anyway, he's been Alf. I've been Anton. This is Irons United. Subscribe, like, comment, and do all that sort of stuff. Share it with your friends. We are Irons United. Come on, you Irons.
Up the hammers whenever we get back. Ta-da.